problem. This should be fine. So, what do you say we knock into this guy?
All right, dude. Let's get after it.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Jameson on the Rocks podcast. Today we have episode number 23, and we have Elijah Johnston with us. How are you doing, my friend?
Good. I'm glad to be on the Michael Jordan episode.
Love it. GOAT episode. How you been, man?
Good, dude.
I'm glad to see you. It's been, spring last year?
Few months, yeah.
It's been a while, I think.
Almost a year.
Yeah. It's a long
Since
time,
I've seen
man.
most anybody in
People in general?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not really, but there's this, I saw something today. There was this article that I read like a little bit of about how like there's like all these social interactions that we like that you don't really, that you sort of take for granted and they just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Where it's like people you just see walking to class.
Yeah.
Or like the people
Give 'em
you
a
just
nod.
sort of see at class, or that you see like in the same kind of place every day, that you like aren't having those kind of like smaller social interactions, and you're kind of like, it's fascinating. Like you take those things for granted, and then they're gone.
Like me, like I get happy, like if when I go to the gym and I'm checking in, I see like the girl that's there every day. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Stuff like that's like really satisfying. Like, oh, it's gonna be a good day. She said, hey, or like whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I kind of miss going to class. Are you still in school?
Yeah. This is the last
Senior?
semester. Yeah.
Me as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you miss going to class? I do.
Sometimes
Yeah?
a little. I have some that are in person,
Mm-hmm.
and some that are not, and some that I was given the option.
Yeah.
And so the I don't mind like
Either way.
either. I'm sort of. I'm not really. I'm kind of checked out a little bit, but they're all like business classes that I'm like, this is fine. But I am in a softball class right now.
Really? So that's your PE?
Yeah. Every time it's been raining the past few days of class, and it's been a huge bummer. I haven't been able to go, but
Did
I
you
wanna go
put
out
your
there and hit
PE off
dingers.
to the last semester?
Yep.
Me too, bro. Yes, that's hilarious. I mean, there's
yeah.
no other choice but to do it that way.
No.
So what do you say we jump into the music?
All
You
right.
have been making music since 2013, 14, 15?
Yeah.
I didn't know you back at this era. So give me a little origin story.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So I started. Well, I started writing songs probably in like the 9th or the 10th grade.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty early.
And then
Yeah.
and then summer. I remember I think the summer after my like junior year, I started kind of taking it pretty seriously and like making like iPhone demos, just like in
That's pretty early too.
Audacity.
For that.
Yeah, I was in like Audacity and like FL Studio and all that stuff,
Gotcha.
just making little demos. And then I remember I put a few up on Bandcamp, and a guy from like a press company hit me up, and he was like, "We want to represent you, bro." And I was like, "That's cool, but like I'm 15 and I've never played a show." And he was like, "Oh yeah. Okay, well, we'll see you later." And I was like, yeah.
Bye.
But so, and then like end of high school, freshman year, started kind of being more serious about it. Like, tried to hone the iPhone craft.
Yes,
like,
love it.
I remember.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, I just was listening to a lot of like Alex G and stuff like that, and hearing like low quality recording,
Lo-fi.
as long as you like double everything, as long as you double track the vocals and the guitars, like you're fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. And then freshman year here, just got very stoked on everything that was going on.
So you came straight to University of Georgia, is that
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And wasn't sure that whole year. I wasn't really sure. I was like, do I want to play music? Like, just trying to get acclimated to school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, then I wrote a bunch of songs that ended up becoming the wonderful EP that came out a few years ago.
And that's your debut release? Is that
sort
correct?
of? Yeah, that's what
Kind of?
it's kind of like the first like not like super lo-fi one.
Gotcha.
And so it's kind of like the first real one. And so I wrote those songs like my freshman year, and then recorded them kind of like the winter of my sophomore year, and was playing shows then and starting to take it kind of seriously.
Remind me what songs on there isn't
it's like Postcard and
I love
Silver Schwinn and
Postcard.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's the first singles, kind of, right? Did you single them together and then or release them as singles and then put them out like that?
Yeah.
I like that way. Honestly, personally, that's my way to. That's how I do it too. Like you get a little attention on them, you know, what I mean? Instead of if you drop 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Postcard. That's a great song.
Yeah.
It's very. It reminds me of Christmas. Is that weird?
No.
It's very
that
like
makes
very
sense.
like Christmassy. I don't know. It's nice. It's
I love Christmas music, so
Christmas
I
music's
don't.
cool.
Yeah,
You cool with that?
Yeah. I like Christmas music a lot. I like winter a lot, and I like wintry music. So,
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could see that for you. So I guess I find out about you somewhere around the Postcard era because I feel like that's the first one I heard, and then maybe Sultan was the second one. Also, a great song. So when would that have been again? 2018?
Early 2019.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you're stirring up quite a pot back then, man. You're playing everywhere. It seemed like it was like Wuog Lobby, Donia, everywhere.
We played too often.
I think so. Things we don't say now.
Yeah. I will say it is funny. Like looking back, like I just sometimes will think back on how many things I said yes to, and like how many places I would just looking back on it, I'm like, why was I doing that? Like my schedule was just hectic, and I do remember the time that we played in the Wuog Lobby. We I hadn't eaten anything all day, and I was like really dehydrated. And I found a picture of it recently where like my hair is sticking straight up. I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie Eraserhead or heard of it?
I don't think so.
You've probably seen like the poster of it. It's this iconic picture of this guy with like his hair sticking like a foot up in the air.
I'm sure I have.
And
I'm to look it up.
he kind of looks like Kramer.
Yeah, okay.
And a little bit. And I just remember in the picture I kind of look like that. Like I'm like I look like I got hit by lightning because I'm like singing into this mic that was like shocking me. And I hadn't eaten all day, and I'm like shaking, and I had some coffee, and I was real jittery. It's terrible.
We got to work on your performance, your routine.
My routine got a lot more calm after that, but I started taking a bit better care of myself after that, and after a couple other shows where I was like either eating too much or not enough, and just like not drinking enough water. And
that's hilarious, man.
But,
I know exactly what you mean. Like you can, like when you get close to the mic, you can feel like it's like a little on your lips. You're like, well, do I just back up off it, nobody hear me, or do I keep sending it? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's hilarious. So when would your first show have been? Do you have any stories on that, or it wouldn't have been Wuog, would it have?
No. Yeah. So the first show I ever played, like in my life, was in Atlanta.
Is this where you're from? Just curious.
I'm from like the suburb, like Snellville.
Gotcha.
So, like, you know where Stone Mountain is?
I think I know where Snellville is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
gotcha.
it's there. So the first show I ever played was in Atlanta, freshman year. It was like a couple days after New Year's, and it was about 18 degrees outside.
Ooh, chilly.
And about 25 degrees inside the venue. It was in the there's this old venue that doesn't exist anymore in Atlanta called the Mammal Gallery, and
that's a cool name.
It had like
venue.
a loft space above it where they had like art shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a stage or anything, but they sometimes had really small shows there.
Yeah, like singer-songwriter things?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I got a text from a guy that I knew who was in a band, and he was like, hey man, like, have you ever played a show before? And I was like, no. And he's like, do you want to? And I was like, yeah, why? Like, where? And he's like, well, I'm booking a show for my buddy who's from out of town, and he needs some local people. It's right after New Year's. Would you be down? And I was like, yeah. And oddly enough, the person I ended up opening for was everybody's friend Nordista Freeze.
Really? The legend?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So,
I think it was you that turned me on to this guy. He's something else, man.
So that was my first ever show, and it was so cold, and I played first, and I sat in this like metal folding chair that was like kind of broken. And I had this like Telecaster, and it was like condensating, and so it was there was like water on it, and I like could barely play it. And I was like, and I played some songs that I think some of them like never even got released, or they were all like from the iPhone days,
early stages,
and they were like so sad. I mean, it was like probably the saddest set of music I've ever played, and it was the first show I ever did, and I was just like,
how did it go? What would you rank it? Pretty well.
It was okay. Yeah. It was definitely not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
But
it was condensating.
Yeah, it was terrible. So that was the first show I ever played, and then in September of, I guess it was that same year, 2018.
So you really haven't been in it for that long. I mean, 3 years.
In the grand scheme of things, not really.
2 years. I mean, in the context of everything, recording music, you've been at it for a while, but playing shows, you really got something going for 2 years.
The shows thing. I was like, I don't know that that's my bag. Yeah. I loved recording on my own, and then when we decided to record like with me, like when we did Wonderful, it was like me and my band, and we had played a couple shows as a band, and it was strange because I had never recorded with other people before.
Gotcha.
And I had also never played with other people. So the first shows I ever played were either by myself or with my brother, Gideon, playing drums. And because I was like, I don't think anyone else I don't think I could work with anyone else. Then the first time I ever played in Athens, it was me. I was supposed to open for Freeze again, for Northeast to Freeze. It was like us, Everyday Dogs, and Cloudland. And Freeze.
Nice lineup, geez.
Yeah. And the day of the show, Freeze texted me and he goes, "Hey, weird question. You know how you were supposed to play first?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Can you play last?" And I was like, "What?"
Do what?
And it was just funny because it was like all these like 3 sets of like rock bands, and like Freeze was roller skating through the venue and stuff like that. And then I got up there nuts. Like with my guitar, and I was alone, and I was like, "Okay, hey guys," and but it was like really crowded. This was like Caledonia. It was like so crowded. It was like a Tuesday night. It was so
really
weird. Yeah, it was great.
Crowded on a Tuesday. That's awesome.
And after that night, like I had like friends of mine knew like, okay, like Elijah writes songs, like he records like with his phone, and it's very like lo-fi.
Yeah.
But that night, like, separately in the evening, like Tommy walked up to me, like grabbed me by the shoulder. He was like, do you need me to be in your band?" And I was like, "Maybe." And then Hampton, who ended up playing drums with me for a while, he like walked up to me. He was like, do you need some of the drums? And I was like, "Maybe." And a week later, I like had booked another show, and I was like, "You guys want to practice?" And that was pretty much it.
So you guys all met right there.
Yeah, well,
you had known each other.
I knew Tommy and Hampton separately. I don't think they knew each other. They may have, but
well, that's a cool origin story for them. Yeah, that's very cool.
I knew them, and then we all hung out and played.
A week later?
I think like a week later. Well, we practiced. We ended up not playing a show for a little while, but those were those first few months of like trying to figure out what the band was and like what everybody's role was, and it was really cool because like I had like the songs that ended up being the Wonderful EP. Like I literally just wrote them on guitar and was like, these might just be like singer-songwriter songs, like just kind of really spare. And then I was like, these will be like acoustic guitar. And I was listening to a lot of like Sufjan at the time. So I was like, this will have like flutes and like trumpets and stuff.
Crazy shit.
And then Tommy and Hampton were like, what if we sounded like a rock band? And I was like, oh, that's actually a cool idea.
Yeah.
So they ended up kind of like writing, I feel like the way those songs sound was like equally as much them as me, which is
kind of
like
interesting that like when you take it to other people, like all your preconceived notations about it are like thrown out the window. Like, oh, okay, this is what this is instead, which is very cool.
And it was cool because like we started playing them live and had like an idea of like this is how this song is, and then we took them to Andrew, who recorded them, who he produced them, and he was like, he took it even to another level, obviously, because that's what a producer does,
pretty much.
And it was just fun of like, oh, okay, this is like.
And you guys have a sound, like it was already there.
It's strange.
Did you really sit down and like something that you really worked on together, or was it just like, oh, this is what we sound like?
What?
Like, did you guys like sit down and say, all right, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna like have this certain like genre style, or did you guys just sit down and it happens?
It was pretty natural. I mean, I like the first few times we practiced with me, Tommy, and Hampton. It was pretty clear like. We need to sound like we want to sound like a band. Yeah. Like, and so the Wonderful EP especially is like almost all live tracked of like,
really?
There's like drums, bass, and like one guitar take in every song that are
and
like.
And then you overdub some?
Yeah, and then we would just like add more guitars.
I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
And so that was kind of a big thing. We also did it.
Gives it a push pull. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a real sounding.
It was also, we recorded it like so fast. We recorded it in I think 3 days.
Where'd you guys record it at?
We did 2 days at 1093.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I like
and
it
then
there.
we did a day at Andrew's house where we did like acoustic guitar and piano and stuff like
Very
that.
cool.
So,
Very cool.
but yeah, it's funny. Everything I've recorded since then, we've recorded at like a very like whenever anyone's free kind of pace. It's like, oh, like 2 weeks from now, let's do like, we'll record for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know, like it's very much like, well, but
whenever.
it's interesting how like, yeah, it was really fun having like a deadline of like, whatever's done at the end of this week, like that's it.
That's cool.
And
how many songs do you guys end up doing? Is it 6?
It
I
was
guess
5
or 6.
Yeah.
Cool. That's impressive though. That's a good amount for that amount of time. Drew said the same thing, that he likes having like 2 days in the studio to do an album or an EP.
He's insane.
He's crazy, man. A crazy guy.
We've been doing 1 song a day with him because
Really?
we're recording. Me and my brother and Tommy are recording with Drew right now.
Very cool. So you guys are the band, or you're just recording him?
It's like Drew's solo stuff, and then I'm playing bass on all of it, and my brother's playing drums, and Tommy's producing all of it and doing a lot of like lead guitar and stuff like that. But it's funny, like we'll do like a day for like a whole song, and it's a nice way to do it, but like I don't know, it's so the kind of like scheduling of recording is so, it's so hard because sometimes you get in there and you work so fast and you're like, that was perfect.
Yeah.
And other days you're like, just like doing hours of like, you know. And I'm really bad on my own stuff about like, I want to do it like twice and I don't want to think about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a cool way to do it. So you're just like ready to get it done. Like you don't spend like a couple months on a song, do you?
No.
We
The fun thing about it with like my own stuff and then like the well kept stuff is that like Tommy will be like, with my songs, I'm like, okay, we did 2 takes of the vocal, we're done. And Tommy's like, no, you should make it sound as good as you can make it sound. Like why don't you just make it sound good? And I'm like, but we're done. Like it's fine. Like, and you know, he's like, no, it's not.
That's
and
hilarious.
then so he kind of like pulls me out of like, okay, I do need to
try
a little harder.
More, yeah.
And then with the well kept stuff, I'll be like, hey man, take 12 doesn't sound any different than take 4. And
it's time to call
I think we're done. Like,
eventually, it always gets to that point.
It's a nice balance, yeah.
So, I know well kept. I guess that lineup is pretty much solid. Like it stays the same, right? But do you rotate? Oh, okay, so it does change.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really like, yeah. No, I mean, with me, it was always like, there was like the period of time where it was like me, Tommy, and Hampton for my band, like real solid. And then our friend Chase Garrett joined.
Big guy, plays guitar, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
With the beard and stuff. He joined, and then he actually, what ended up happening was that it was me, Tommy, and Hampton, and sometimes my brother. And then we basically, Tommy was like, I want to start an emo band. And let's just have it be the same people that we're already playing with, and then let's add Chase to play guitar. And we were like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. And so
it sounds crazy when you say it, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. And so there was that period of time where we were playing like a show every 2 weeks, and people would be like, all right, which version of the band are we getting? Are we getting, you know?
Which is it?
And that was a fun period of time because it was like just the 4 of us, and we would just like, we could just like flip a switch and like become well kept or become the Elijah Johnston band.
That is cool.
But then and then we kind of started shifting my brother in a little bit to my band more, and then, you know, the well kept thing, we like have had a couple different drummers and like guitar players kind of cycle in and out.
Is Hampton still playing with you guys? I thought
he does, but he like lives in Tennessee, and so we don't like play shows anymore, really. So it's like, well,
gotcha.
He's been doing a lot of the recording.
I feel like
for
when
the
I
Well-Kept
saw
songs.
you guys at 40 Watt, I think you guys were saying it was his last show. Was that
I think we probably told people that because he was about to move.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then also Chase moved to North Carolina.
I guess they graduated.
Well, Chase got married, and Hampton got like a job. He's been out of school for a couple of years.
Gotcha.
Hampton got like a job working for the government or something.
Okay. Secret agent kind of thing.
Yeah, he's a spy.
Very cool, Hampton.
That's
nice.
why.
Shout out. We see you.
We see you, Hampton.
We see you, man. Well, that's usually what kills Athens fans, though, is the graduating thing, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then they move back home.
Thankfully, Tommy and I have kind of decided we're not leaving.
Leaving, yes.
Yeah.
Athens is great.
Yeah, Tommy graduated. He didn't leave because I'm producing people.
Seems like he's got the setup there. Like he's really popping out there. Like busy all the time.
It's a fun environment.
How's he like acoustics and everything? Pretty cool little room. I've never actually been there. Yeah.
Yeah. The living room where we do most of it has like it's just very weird that it's just like this normal looking living room, and then you put drums in there, and you're like, okay, nice. All right.
I like how there's like a little I guess it's a glass door or something that you can look through, and like I see you guys like in there looking at each other while you're playing. I'm like, that's dope.
Yeah, we've got to
put guitars in different rooms and stuff, kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
It really is just sort of like a
grand piano.
Jeez, yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's the place right there.
Yeah,
and it seems like you guys have been busy. I mean,
yeah.
Seems like
I'm not really much. I'm not a big part of it.
But you're there a lot.
I'm there a lot. Yeah. But yeah, it just sort of depends. It just depends on if I'm playing on the thing or not. But,
gotcha. Okay, so that takes us to about, I guess, 2019. When would the next record come out? Strangers. Is that 2019 or 2020?
Yeah, we recorded that in the summer of 2019.
Oh, the glory days.
Yeah, the summer of 2019. And we did that whole thing. We did it pretty fast. It was like the first. I think it was kind of the first thing that we did in the the home studio, like
gotcha.
Tommy's setup. And it's funny. We always joke about how like, you know, he has a bunch of like nice gear. I mean, his stuff now sounds incredible. But then we like laugh when we listen back to that because we're like, we didn't know what we were doing at all. Like
That's
in the
hilarious.
grand, it like feels like we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah. It's crazy what you can learn in a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Crazy.
But yeah, so we did Strangers then.
9 songs, is that right?
It's 8. Yeah, and Hampton was the one playing drums on almost all of it. I played drums and Tommy played drums on one, and my brother.
Sorry to cut you off, but are those like live as well, or are you doing those to a click?
Those were a lot of like doing drums and bass at the same time. Typically was kind of like our
catching the
method
rhythm
for it. Yeah, and it was like some of them were very like click, like us, like part by part kind of thing, and then some of them weren't to a click, and they were pretty much just us following Hampton. But the ones that Tommy and I played drums on, we definitely needed a click because there's one that I play like all the instruments, and I was like, we got to find the tempo. Like,
what song is that?
Show Myself Out.
I love that one. You play all of those? Wow, that's a great
Mm-hmm.
one. I like. Let me think. Don't come around looking for me. Is on there, right? I think that's my favorite song you've ever done. By the way.
Yeah, I appreciate.
It's
that.
very catchy. I like the round of applause towards the end. I like how it kicks back in. I think after that, is that right?
Yeah. We did that. We did that the night that we took the picture on the album cover. Because
on the front.
We invited a bunch of people to the house, and we're like, we're gonna like record tonight, but we want to take a picture of everybody, and we want everyone to do like this funny thing.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much all.
I like it. It seems very real, and then I mean, you could have ended it right there easily, but it comes back in, which I think is cool. I like the arrangement. It kind of slows down at the end too. It seems like
it does.
Very,
it's
very
we told Hampton, we were like, when you come back, do it slower.
That's a great song. That's catchy. I remember when that came out. We were in Inbus together.
Oh yeah.
So that was like the glory days back then. But
yeah, man.
And then around that era, I saw you at 40 Watt and Georgia Theater. I recall. At the Georgia Theater, you did something. There was a song where you got them to put delay on your vocals or something. I was like, damn, that's a boss move.
Yeah, and I didn't even. I'm telling you, man. You know, I miss working there. I miss working there so much.
True.
And
so much.
Yeah, I think Roger was putting the sauce on my vocals.
He was, man.
Night,
he had you sauce. I was like, damn. I wonder if he.
I wasn't even asking.
You didn't ask.
Yeah, no.
Really? Because like for a little band like me or you know what I mean? Like usually we're just like set up as minimal as possible, just like get in and get out.
Yeah.
Like, God, I don't want to piss the sound guy off. And you sounded nice in there, man.
Thankfully, the thing that was good about working there was that I liked. I think everyone there liked me for the most part that worked there, and so it was nice with this thing of like, well, I know if I play a show here,
got some
friends. They're gonna help me out a little bit, which was fun.
I feel it. Yeah, it's nice to go to a venue where you feel welcomed. You know what I mean? Or it feels better at least. Yeah, it was fun working there, man. It was a good time. I miss it. Yeah, you want to go clock in tonight? We can do it. Let's go clock in. I always like working downstairs better than the rooftop, though. Rooftop kind of bummer. Yeah. I didn't get to see any shows or anything up there.
Yeah. Rooftop, I remember that the summer I started working there, which was summer 2019. So, yeah, like that. That was a crazy summer of like, I was recording like all the time and I was working late night, like 3-4 nights a week, just till like, 2 you know, yeah. Just so weird. And then we would just record all day, and it felt like the Wild West. Yeah. But I remember that summer they had His Gold Messenger. Do you know that guy?
I did not.
They're like this kind of, I think you would say kind of like an Americana rock band.
Okay.
Really good. And they could have played like on the main stage. Yeah. And I was told that they were like, no, we'd rather play the roof. Because we'd rather like sell out, and have it be like
undersell.
Yeah,
is it called?
underplay.
Yeah, underplay. That's nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Little shout out David Barbie.
Shout out Barbie. What up with it? We learned something.
But yeah, and it was just, I mean, it was incredible. And like I was just like sitting there guarding the door, and I was like, none of these people want to break in. Like this is fun. And it was a nice thing of like I'm working here, but I'm also like just really getting to. Soak it in, soak in some good music.
Those nights, it doesn't really seem like work to me, at least. When there's somebody there that you want to see, you know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, this is about to be fun. And I don't know. Have you played the Rooftop?
Mm-hmm.
You have? How'd you like it? I've never seen a show up there.
The Rooftop is it's just so fun.
I believe it. It seems like it would be.
Yeah,
very chill.
Like especially when like the weather would be good and like you play there in the summer and like the sun is like gone down, but like not all the way, so it's like still a little eerie out there, and there'd be early shows, and sometimes you'd be playing a free show where it's like there's a bunch of people there that aren't there to see you, which is cool.
Yeah, that's great.
But it was that one time we did that, and it was really funny because I have this one song that when I play it alone, it's called House by the Beach, and it's like the ending of Strangers.
Yeah, that's real slow one, right?
Yeah, and when I play it live, I would always, after the last chorus, I would play the chorus of same chords, and play the chorus of Margaritaville, nice. But make it like a real bummer.
Yeah, depressing Margaritaville.
Yeah, and I started doing it one time, and this guy, he was this old drunk guy, and he was like, this guy gets it, man. This guy gets it.
This guy gets it.
And I was like, yeah, this song is so sad. Margaritaville is so sad.
Depressing.
Yeah.
Wasting away again, man.
Wasting away, man.
That's hilarious.
He's out there. He literally says he's out like wandering around looking for like, what is my purpose? And he's just in this drunken stupor, and he like can't figure out where his life went wrong. And then it's the real kicker is like some people would say there's a woman to blame.
Yeah.
Like I could so easily be like that, whatever, she broke my heart, like, you know, this kind of stuff. And he's like, he looks at it, and he's like, that's my fault. It's all
me, man.
It's my fault.
Are we getting an Elijah Johnston cover of this release? When are we getting that on Spotify?
That would.
You could put your spin on it. It'll sound like
Yeah, I'd have to jump through some loops, I guess. I don't know the legality of stuff like that.
I don't either. It was taught to us, but I don't really think I retained it.
Yeah.
That's funny though.
Releasing a cover seems difficult, but
I don't think I can motivate myself to get through it yet, like recording it. Like, you got to kind of like make it your own, and like you really got to make it different, or what's the point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I haven't personally done it. So like I don't really feel that motivated. But
Yeah.
if I found something cool, I feel like you got to find something really old, like from the 60s, and soup it up.
I feel like you have to find something that. I feel like covering stuff is really. There's like an art to doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I could see that.
Because I think that it's just, I don't know. I played bass my freshman year in like a covers band.
Yeah.
And it was like fun and we made money and all the guys were really cool. But it was fun whenever like there would always be like sometimes like the switch would flip where it would go from like, we're like covering this song because it's like on our set list. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it would just be like, we're really feeling like someone else's song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gotcha. And it would kind of like, we'd be like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah. You know?
I get what you mean.
And I do think that there is like especially if you don't do many of them, like if you're a cover band, it's like, it's different. You're kind of wanting to nail it and like,
yeah.
You know, but I feel
like
the
the record.
Yeah. And,
gotcha.
But I feel like when you're doing just like one or two, especially in like a live setting, it's kind of got to have almost like an element of like, whoa, like
I could see that.
You know, sort of a
surprising. Yeah, it can't be too expected. And I like it when people like mix them together and stuff, or like they twist them up, like they use the same chord progression and play something different, different songs. I think stuff like that's cool. Yeah. Have you guys don't really play many covers though, do you? You got enough originals at this point, right, to fill it out?
The only one we ever did, we used to do. We would cover we would do Angelina by Pine Grove.
Gotcha, yeah.
And that one was always fun just because it's like the song's literally a minute long. Yeah. Like it's so short. And then when I would play solo, I would cover Gold Sounds by Pavement. Which is just, I mean, it's pretty much just like my favorite song.
I'm not sure
almost.
If I know that. I'm gonna have to write this down.
It's a good time.
You said Gold Songs?
Sounds, yeah.
Gold Sounds, sorry.
But we never did a ton of covers.
Well, you don't really have to. The originals are going so great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, but it is kind of like, it also as our shows kind of like progressed, we started playing for like, we would sort of like stretch the songs out a little bit more, and like this, and so I mean, the one time we headlined at the 40 Watt and played for like a little bit over an hour, and we were just like,
you guys were great that night.
I mean, it was fun, but it was like, why did we play for that long?
Really? You want to play like what, 45 minutes, I guess?
Well, I mean, we kind of knew going into it, we were like, this set is probably going to last an hour.
Gotcha.
And
this is the night with Marie.
That was
different night.
This was the very beginning of 29, or I guess it was beginning of like our junior year.
Who was it?
It was us and Well Kept and Zach. It was we did a tour where it was like me, Well Kept, and Zach Crook, and it was the Vortex.
Gotcha.
And we did like 5 shows.
Yeah. Okay. There's T-shirts, wasn't there?
Yeah,
maybe? Yeah. I feel like I've heard of this.
Yeah. And the Athens show was essentially the same, like 9 people playing for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I've heard about this. You guys played a bunch of places. This is like at the start of me getting to know you.
Yeah.
Very
it was
cool.
That was we played for an hour that night, which was nuts. And then we probably played close to an hour at the Strangers show. You know, in January.
Like it was at least 45 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
You guys were on fire. It was great.
That was a year ago. Which is
crazy,
insane.
There's a lot of people there. That was fun.
That was a fun time. Yeah,
I would go back to a show like
Marie,
that.
She
She played great too.
Yeah.
I missed Ann, but Marie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Great night. You guys were all like switching around instruments and shit. I was like, damn. And your shows are like really hype. Like for someone who doesn't know you and like listen to you on Spotify, you're not the kind of show I would expect. Does that make sense to you? Like if I were to go listen to your Spotify, I had no idea about you. I was like, all right, let's go see this guy. What you actually play, like rocking out and people bopping their heads and stuff, and like the mosh pit at the end. It's not what I would have expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
Which is cool. I love it.
I do think that there's like, I sometimes I worry, not worry, that's the wrong word. There is definitely an element where like, I don't want people to think that I'm like this dour guy. Cause I feel like for a long time there was this, I just felt like every conversation I had with someone, like one of my friends, like about my own music was like, it always boiled down to like, yeah, and like your music's really sad. And like I never even really thought of it that way until people started kind of putting that out there and being like, yeah, I mean it's like really sad, right? And I'd be like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I mean like and so yeah, I think at a certain point like we were like, I mean this is really fun. Like we love being in this band and playing, and like we'd rather the show feel like kind of an experience rather than like, you know,
like all slow songs.
You know what I mean? Like and like I don't want
energy.
And I love going to see people where it's like I sit and I think really hard about the words and like I'm whatever. But I think it's like if I'm like asking my friends to pay like $10 and take a whole night out of their time, like I at least want to make it a little
rush,
almost a little like a little cinematic almost of like it has kind of like a flow to it of like
a performance.
But
it's hard to articulate. I get what you mean. I get what you're saying. That's great. What was I going to say about that? It's kind of like you got a little singer songwriter in you, but like some rocking in you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? What do you actually consider yourself? Are you like indie singer songwriter?
I don't know.
It could be anything.
I used to tell people. Actually, well, yeah. For a long time, I was like, "Oh, I'm just like a singer-songwriter," and then I started telling people that we were like an emo band, but that's just like it's not really true. And then now I just say I'm like it's like a rock band, but it's only got my name on it. Like that's how kind of how I explain it.
It's
like,
hard to explain sometimes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're like, "What's the name of the band?" Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in a band." They're like, "What's the name of the band?" I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Like Jameson tank.
Well, it's funny because like I remember when Well Kept was first starting, the first Well Kept show was listed as like Tommy Troutwine of Jester, like solo.
Yeah.
And so I think people thought they were gonna come and Tommy was gonna be like playing an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And instead it was like this kind of whole thing.
Yeah.
And you know he pretty quickly was like, we need to have like a name. And I kind of like struggled for a long time. I was like, do I need to like have like an alias or like a band name? Like and I thought about it a lot, and I was like, you know, I was thinking about why did I just decide to use my real name when I was in like high school? Because that was when I was in high school. I was like, I could make up a name, I could whatever. And I was like, well, it's just me, and like.
It sounds cool already. Elijah's a cool name.
I was like, if it's good enough, my mindset at that point was like, if it's good enough for like Billy Joel and Kanye West, then like it's good enough for me, you know?
Everybody, you know what I mean? Yeah.
It's just, but I think there was a moment where all the music I was into, like none of the bands all the bands I liked were like solo projects that had like a fake name.
Gotcha.
And it was just, I was like, I have to be like that.
This is me.
Yeah, but
you could be Elijah Johnston and the Eraserheads.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's crazy.
That's fire,
That's
bro.
crazy.
I tossed around that for a while. I was like, should I come up with the and this something? But then I was like, nah, I've worked so hard. Like this is me, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
that would be there. Yeah. I think if I was ever gonna be like we're a band now, I would probably I would only probably do that if I was like if I didn't write by myself anymore.
Gotcha. So you are writing all the material? Correct.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. I don't write I don't write like every guitar riff or like every.
But you bring the song in, and then you guys together mold it.
Yeah.
That's how I like to do it too.
So I think if I was ever like I think if it was ever like me, Tommy, and my brother, or like any combination of that, like we are gonna write together, I would probably be like, this is like a
different,
band,
different.
This is different,
right?
yeah. But you know.
So moving on, that is interesting. Tell me about the new one. The best part about being a podcaster is you get the sneak peeks at the new tunes. Is this okay to talk about?
Yeah, it's great to talk about.
Sweet, let's talk. Tell me about it.
When does this come out? Also,
2 weeks from now, or when does
that's
this...
perfect?
Is that perfect?
That's perfect.
Content coming at you.
February 12th.
Ooh, yes. Okay, sweet. That works out very nicely.
Yeah.
Tell me about Greatest Hits. I've listened to it a couple times. Very catchy. I like it.
So it's a new song called Greatest Hits.
Heard it here first.
That's my new song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so weirdly enough, I wrote it A long time ago.
Long time ago.
Really? I wrote it before I wrote Postcard.
Wow.
So I wrote it
years on the shelf.
Summer of 2018.
Jeez. Okay.
And the reason why was I was like I said earlier, I was very into Sufjan Stevens at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Sufjan has these 2 albums that are about different states. Okay. And he sings in very minute detail about different places, different people in like the history of a couple different states in America. Gotcha. And he said he was going to do all 50 states, and he never, obviously that was a joke. But so I was really kind of like obsessed with that idea. I was like, that is so cool. Yeah. And I was like, I should try something like that. Mm. So I decided, I was like, I'm going to write one that's about New York, and that was Postcard. Okay. Cool. And I was like, with that one, I'm going to write it in just very like crystal clear detail. Like gotcha. These are places, this is what was happening. And then with Greatest Hits, I was like, I want to write a song about Athens, but I want to make it really like almost in like code. Yeah. Almost like it's in like a...
To be interpreted.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so there was... I changed the lyrics a lot over the course of the couple years because I just didn't like how they sat, and the way it ended up was a lot of fun. And I could never figure out an arrangement that worked because I never showed it to anybody, and I was just very in my own head about it. Yeah. And I was like,
that's okay.
And so and then I played it with Tommy, and he was like, "This is cool. Like, why have you never shown me this song?" I was like, "I don't know." And then this summer we were gonna start recording my new album back in May, and we were like, "That's the starting point. Like, Greatest Hits is like the starting point." And it was really cool because we, me and like I had an arrangement in mind. Tommy had an arrangement in mind. He plays bass on it. He produced it, obviously. And then my brother, who plays drums on it, he had an arrangement in mind.
Really?
The 3 of us had kind of different ideas. And
it's usually an issue, right?
Yeah. So my idea was it was going to be this very kind of Kurt Weill, Tom Petty, like straight beat, really strumming guitar, like super laid back. And my brother's idea was that it was going to be really kind of bouncy and really groovy. And then we clashed a little bit in the studio, and I was like, we tried it both ways, and my way was a little boring. Yeah. And his way was a little over the top. And Tommy was like, I have an idea. Why don't you play it strummy and kind of soft for about the first half of the song, and then there's like the breakdown section where like the piano comes in and the vocals kind of go out. And
there's a little instrumentation, some sort of noise. Is it all piano?
There's
like a guitar or something doing some slides, right?
Yeah. So there's like, there's like a bajillion guitar tracks in the song. It's like a couple different electrics and like me playing some riffs and stuff. And then there's this acoustic guitar that's kind of in the background, kind of like transitioning, kind of like sliding around. I think you say,
I think that's it.
That's Canon.
That's cool.
Canon Rogers.
Yeah, Canon's awesome. Shout out Canon. What up?
And then, but it gets to the part where it does the kind of bum, bum, bum. And that we just kind of, Tommy was like, that, like, have like a breakdown, and then the song will switch, and like the beat will get kind of dancey.
I could see
different.
That. And it's an interesting arrangement because like it's not very like obvious, you know what I mean? Like verse, pre-chorus, chorus,
right?
You know what I mean? It's like super like.
That was the other thing too. I mean? That was the other thing that made me hesitate to like put it out or do anything with it was that it doesn't have like a chorus. Yeah. It's just like verses and then an instrumental.
That's cool though.
And for a long time I was like, golly, like I need to write a hook. And Tommy was like, that riff just is a hook. Like don't worry about it. And I was like, okay.
That's good advice.
And then what really kind of sealed the deal was that Hampton sent us a voice memo of him playing these crazy piano chords, and we showed it to Canon, and Canon figured them out. And so there's a part where some electric piano comes in, and it's this cool like walk down during the sort of breakdown part, and that breakdown is just straight up. It's the bridge. We just took it from the bridge in American Girl.
I love that song.
Where it's like dun 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 dun. Yeah. Yeah, we were like, let's just do that. Like copy paste.
Nice.
And plus I had just watched Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads music movie.
Yeah,
it's like a concert film.
I've never seen it, but I've heard good things.
It's a really fun time. And
what was it called again?
Stop Making Sense. And I was thinking a lot about like Talking Heads guitar riffs where they just play one note.
They have interesting vibes and like grooves and stuff.
Yeah, and so we were just like, let's just do that. But
now that I know that, I can't wait to listen to it again.
Yeah, so
I'll be listening for it.
Long story short, it was something that like we kind of like all of us were sort of clashing, and then at the end of it, we sat with it for a while. And we were like, oh, this is really cool. Like, and it is, and it's fun because it feels very like. It's funny that it took that much work and time because it feels almost like the most
laid back,
effortless song I've ever met. Like where it's just like, you know, like
I like the MTV reference in there.
Yeah, that was MTV. Listen to whatever MTV plays. Yeah, that's was like
stuff.
I was trying to figure out how to talk about like a radio station, and I was like, I can't say like a radio station name there, and I was like, MTV is like funnier in that setting. But
it's got a little like smirk to it, like rest in peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like back in the day, kind of.
Yeah, the whole song is kind of like a not a joke, but it's like there are a lot of jokes in it that are like.
When I first saw the post, I was just like scrolling through and I saw Greatest Hits. I was like, this dude's dropped a Greatest Hits record. He's been making music for 2 years. What a ballsy move! This guy is on it, man.
And that's the other thing too. Is it's like the funny thing of like calling your shot. Of like we're gonna call a song.
I like that though. I wrote down my favorite line because it was so catchy. Let's see. I put my songs on. What's your favorite?
Whatever's on the greatest.
Whatever's on the greatest hits. I'll shoot my shot, and if I don't land, at least I could say I swung. That's cool. Or something like that. You know. I just jotted it down. I like to shoot my shot. At least I swung. That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole premise of that was almost like the kind of story we concocted was that it's as if you're like talking to like a girl and like trying to impress a girl and being like,
wanna hear my songs?
Hey, what like being like whatever. What's your favorite song of mine? You know, like because I just imagine like a kind of like douchey guy being like, what's your favorite of my songs? And this girl's like, whatever one is most popular, like whichever one people like the basically like quit talking.
Which one has the most streams?
Yeah, and basically being like, well, that didn't work. You know, like obviously that's
hilarious. Flopped. And I like how you saved it for the end too, because you kind of like the whole time you're listening for the first time at least, you're like, what is the greatest hits? Like, what is he talking about? You know what I mean? Kind of till the end. I love songwriting like that. That's cool.
Yeah,
and you do that really well. I feel like you mentioned like I think maybe it's Find Your Bliss or one of those where you only say it once.
Yeah.
I think that's cool, you know what I mean? Instead of the chorus saying it like 100 times or whatever, which I do just about every time. So
I kind of my whole like approach, I think, with writing songs is sort of I always go back to the song Nowhere Man, the Beatles song.
Yeah, okay.
And how it's like
I've heard that one.
It's like, you know, a chorus, you know, he's a real and it chorus happens and then it happens again with different lyrics. And then it happens again with new lyrics. Yeah. And then there's a bridge. And then there's a guitar solo. And then the chorus happens again and then that's it. And it's just like that's kind of my mindset is it's like I'm just gonna write like one hook and just keep changing the words. And
instead of having to have 100 hooks
that
are not as good.
Yeah, either that or just like I really like this band called Joye Manor. That's like they're like a punk, kind of like a punk band. That all their songs are like a minute long, and it's like a super catchy verse, a super catchy chorus, and then the song ends. And it's just like,
that too.
And it's just like you keep, it makes you listen to it again because
that's like, crazy, And they're like they'll be like 1 minute or 2.5 minutes. It's like
it's crazy.
Damn, it's like there's nothing to this. Like they did it so quick, and it leaves you like unsatisfied kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, play that thing again.
Gotta listen to it again.
Yeah, it's just cool. I try to write more like that, but man, it's tough when you're like trying to tell a story too. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's like, damn, can I really do without 2 verses and a bridge here or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm tough on my band, but like, I don't really like second verses. What do you think about second verses? Like sometimes they seem like the most unnecessary part of a song to me, or the weakest. In my opinion,
it is funny. I was thinking about this thing a lot of the second verse because my band, like me and Tommy and Chase, met each other playing at church. And my brother and I also in our like back home have a lot of experience playing like worship music in churches and stuff. And we always fall back into this tendency of like first chorus is like kind of chill.
Yeah.
The sort of like the ramp up way that like a lot of worship songs do it, that is like it's a dynamic thing that I like can't shake sometimes, where it's like the first verse is like kind of calm, chorus is like really cool, big, like sounds great. Second verse is like just like backbeat, just like drums,
switch it up,
and everyone's kind of like hanging back a little bit. And I always think about that, of how that's always my instinct, is either like the band comes in on the second verse or like goes out on the second verse, and it's just like, and it is. I think a lot of times like verse 2 is kind of weird. Yeah,
sometimes
I will.
That's just what I've observed.
It's tough, and I will say, all props to Tommy. I don't think any well-kept song has a verse 2.
Really?
I think every well-kept song is, or like, if anything, it's like verse 1 instrumental, another verse, and then a chorus, and then like a solo, and then the chorus, and then the song ends. Like that's like I always am like, gosh, the Tommy method is so good, where it's just like,
it's interesting.
You don't have a filler verse. You just like have the verse be a little longer, and then the chorus happens, and then you're like, okay, this is where the song. This is like the hook, you know.
Oh God, what's the first song? The first well-kept song is so catchy.
Meantime?
Yeah, no, I think it's before that.
Oh, Good Thoughts.
Yeah, Good Thoughts. Yeah. That one, that's one of the ones with only one chorus. Am I right, or maybe two?
The chorus happens twice, but it's like
the verse is really
long. It's like the verse is there's like a long verse, a chorus, and then like a bridge.
Yeah,
basically. And
that's interesting. I'm about to start writing more songs like that. Like I'm too set in my ways of like. First one, huge chorus, like give it all away in chorus one, you know what I mean? I do that all the time. I'm like, fuck, save a little something, you know what I mean? Like, come on, and then do it again, and then bridge, and then chorus out. Try to make it sound as big as possible. Yeah. So I'm working on that. That's interesting. I'm taking notes here. Taking notes. Very cool stuff. So yeah, that's Greatest Hits. I'm excited to hear that. What was the date on that?
It's going to be February 12th.
February 12th. Everybody heard that? 12th. Pre-save?
Yes.
Pre-save? I'll drop the pre-save link when I drop the YouTube video.
Sounds good.
So that's great. I think we've covered anything. Do you have anything else you'd like to talk about? It's been almost an hour. That flew by.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Any other things you want to promote? Anything you got coming up? Any shout outs? Anything?
I'm trying to think if there's anything to promote. Not really.
Not really?
Other than that song.
Greatest Hits. I'd highly suggest it. It's very catchy.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some well-kept songs that have come out recently, back in last year. Those
the record.
Well, there was the record, and then there was there was Red Light and Winter
Red Light,
and Settling.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think if there's anything big. Shoot. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been in such this whole like music career not like happening for like a year has really like thrown me off of the norm. Like,
talk about sucking the wind out of your sails. You know what I mean? Like we were rolling.
Yeah, I was texting Tommy the other day. I was like, I'm so glad to be putting out a song and like be able to think about this again. Like, it's just funny. It's like after so long of like no shows and like it's been over a year since I had anything come out. I'm just not really in the promotional mindset. But it is funny, like just everything got paused, and I don't even like. I was talking to someone recently. I was like, I don't feel like I'm a musician anymore. Like I like don't feel like that's what I am. Like for a long time, I was like, I would like wake up every day and be like, I'm Elijah Johnston, and I make music. Like I'm like and then now
this is me.
Now I wake up and I'm like, I'm just gonna like watch Seinfeld all morning. Like that's
I exist.
I used to get up and like send emails and I would like wake up and like have a cup of coffee, like be at the MLC, like sending emails, like checking blogs, and
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Being like, I'm gonna email that guy and try to get him to listen to my song, or like, oh, I need to reach out to that guy at that venue and all this kind of stuff.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And now I wake up and I literally for the past 2 weeks, almost every morning, like I wake up at 9, I drink a big cup of coffee, and I watch like 3 episodes of Seinfeld.
What do you need the coffee for?
And then I drink so much coffee. Tommy and I have both started writing lyrics where we're both like, it's funny. Like I feel like whenever people, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but I do feel like sometimes people write lyrics about how much they drink, and it's almost in a way of like not necessarily apologizing for it, but it's like it just if you do that like a lot, if it's like a big part of your life, it'll come out. And like both Tommy and I have realized recently, we like have like 4 lyrics recently where we're like just talking about how much we drink coffee. We're like, this is not
lifestyle.
It is. It's like it's not good. I mean, it could be worse.
I try to only drink it when I have something to do though. Like I can't just drink it and watch no Seinfeld. Now I'll be just zooted out there.
I'm a big like drink like a third of a pot every morning kind of guy.
Do you like creamer or do you put milk in it? I know we're getting off topic, but it's all good.
No, I could talk about this for hours.
So say I'm curious in the coffee game.
I usually just drink it black, but
really
sometimes
no
I
milk
want
or nothing?
Sometimes I want creamer. It depends on the situation. Really? If it's out of a pot, I'll probably have creamer. But recently I haven't. I've just been like
interesting.
But
I've been switching it up. I got some cashew milk. You ever had cashew milk?
No.
It's pretty damn good, man. I'm just saying. Cashew milk shout out.
All right. I've been on a big I work in a restaurant now where I have to make coffee drinks for people, and we've been big in the oat milk game recently. Yeah. So it's a little strange at first, but when you put it in some espresso, it's
oat milk. I didn't even know that was a thing, honestly. Well, I guess that's the same thing as cashew milk. It's an oat, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give or take. But like the reason I got into it, it's like I'm like in the gym and stuff, and like I read that cashew milk is like 25 calories a glass, and regular milk's like 250 or something. I was like, well, damn,
insane.
And it's not bad. It's like not sweetened or anything. And you put it in the coffee, you can't tell the difference. I think that's funny. You drink it black though. That's pretty tough, right? Most days.
Yeah.
About 3 gallons of sugar. What are we looking at?
No, I'm
not much.
No, I don't put any sugar.
No sugar?
Yeah.
Oh
if I do cream, I get like the sweet cream where it's like
gotcha.
It's kind of got like a like a vanilla or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. You only put a little bit in there.
Yeah, I just pour in a little. I pour it in first. So if you do the creamer first and then you put the coffee on top, it mixes it for you.
Oh, that's a pro tip.
Yeah,
oh man, let me write that down.
Yeah.
Look at this peasantry, dude. I just pour mine in last. Look at me. What an idiot.
It's not stupid. It's just I but ever since someone introduced me to that method, I was like, oh my gosh. But
no sugar, no creamer usually?
Generally no, yeah.
Really?
I just
It just gets you geeked without it. You're just good to go.
Yeah. and generally, like, dude, this is really bad. The other day I drank a good bit in the morning, and then it was about 2:00, and I was like, why is my head hurting? And I was like, this is the kind of headache I have when I wake up and I like haven't had any coffee, and it's like 3 p.m.
Not the withdrawal,
like a caffeine withdrawal headache. It's not good. Don't do that.
That's not good, bro. We got a minor addiction on our hands here, right?
Yeah, it could be worse.
There's a lot worse things.
There's a lot worse things.
I'm struggling with a phone addiction, bro. I'm trying to cut down my phone time. Like literally, I'm looking at it so long sometimes. I look up and like my eyes are like hurting because I'm like zoned out so deep.
I have,
you know what I mean?
Sometimes. Yeah, for sure.
It's honestly unreal.
I'm trying to get my, every week it gives you that update where it's like,
what is yours at?
Oh, I don't even want to know.
I don't want to say
it's been telling me recently that it's gone down.
Oh, that's good.
The past couple weeks, it's like, it's down a little bit. It's down a little bit. So I'm trying to
get that alert on Sunday that you're up like an hour or 2 hours a day. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm playing golf with my phone. I'm just like trying to get that
trying to
score
get it down,
baby.
Yeah, trying to get it down to 0.
Yeah,
that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be cool.
That's interesting. You seen the stock market craziness?
Dude,
trading stocks?
I just when I came in the house, I don't trade stock. I don't know how any of that stuff works.
Yeah.
And I will probably offend someone with what I'm about to say, but it's hilarious. I was online yesterday and I was like, I saw someone post about it on Facebook and I texted my brother. I was like, he's a bit more aware of stuff like this. And I was like, am I reading this right? That a bunch of like Reddit guys like are about to put a hedge fund out of business? And he was like, yes. And I just feel like at a certain level, it's like, hey man, you play with Monopoly money and someone snatches it from you. Like, I just think that's pretty funny.
It's
like,
definitely interesting, man. It's crazy. Everybody's been talking about it. Seems like GameStop. And
and people. And it's just, it is funny. It gets people like me involved, and I don't know anything about that stuff.
I was just close to tweeting today. Stocks only go up, like just to mess with people and stuff. It's just funny. I don't know. It's interesting. I trade a lot, but like, I don't really understand it either. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I've tried to watch a video on TikTok. Speaking of TikTok, are you on TikTok yet?
No, man.
You need to be on TikTok, bro. I hate to say it, bro. I hate to say it, man. It's tough.
I think my thing is, like, I know a lot of people that are getting into TikTok to like promote their music, and I think that that's cool. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And it does well. I don't think I would. I think I would just get on there and like make
consume.
But I think I would try to be funny.
Yeah.
I know myself
too though.
Well, but I know myself enough to know, like, back in the day, I tried to be like a Vine guy.
Yeah, I remember Vine. I made a couple of Vines.
I tried to be like a Vine comedy guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which was a stupid idea. I just think I would get on there and I would be too, like, you know, like posing and like doing cringy stuff.
Yeah. Nah, you should get on there. I was actually on there last night. It's so like you get on, the algorithm is so strong that it'll lead you to whatever, you know. And I saw Hotel Fiction on there last night, like on the For You page. And there's like thousands of likes on their things. There's I go through the comments. There's like hundreds of people in the comments like, hey, I live in Athens. I'm in music business. Hi, I'm in Athens. I go to UGA. You guys are awesome. Let's hang out.
That's so funny.
I was like, damn, I'm on Athens Talk, bro. This is crazy. This is crazy.
The thing about TikTok is that, like, I'm beginning to feel more and more like an old person.
Yeah.
Like, I feel more like a grandpa every day. And like, I just know that I would get on there and be like, I try not to rule out anything that isn't like harmful. And so, you know, I won't rule it out entirely, but it'll
I will say it won't help your screen time situation. Your screen time will definitely go up.
I don't imagine.
But there's good stuff on there, man. Like I'm on production kind of talk, like all kind of little, like, it'll be producers. He'd be like, this is how I made yada 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 in 1976, and it'll be like a Hendrix record or something, and they'll give you, which is cool. And like, I don't know, it's just interesting. I've tried to like repurpose all my Instagram content for TikTok, which does not work, by the way. You'll get like 200 views on everything. It
seems like it has to go the other way. It seems like you have to kind of engineer TikTok, like,
it's got to be funny.
TikTok, and then you can kind of migrate it.
That's it, man. Way. You got it right there. That's very true.
Yeah, man. There's certain things where it's like, I don't know.
It might be past my limit.
It might be out of my lane.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting though. Have you tried the live streams any? What do you think about those?
I've done like a couple that were pretty like low tech. I've watched and paid for a couple different live stream things. It's really strange. It's so hit or miss. Like, I've done a couple where it was like, you know, I did the one through the Lewis Room, which is that really good venue at Tweed.
Super nice.
And that was really great. And I mean, it was a pretty low, like, I was like in Tommy's house, just like on through the laptop.
Gotcha.
And it was a lot of fun. And it was like cool and interactive, and there was like a good crowd, and it was, you know, and I haven't done one yet, but like, I like it when my friends are just like, I'm just gonna do Instagram Live for like 40 minutes,
play some on the acoustic,
and like I love stuff like that. And then, like, you know, I love we watched like the Pine Grove like movie thing that was like this like concert film that they also like had like scripted elements, and that was kind of fun. And like, I think I'm probably gonna watch the like Slaughter Beach. You know Slaughter Beach Dog?
I don't think so.
They're like
I'll look them up though.
They're really they're really
like I've
good.
Heard of them.
They're doing like a paid stream thing with like full band, like high production value, like all this kind of stuff. And like, I love watching stuff like that. But then it's weird because it's like, I watch it and I like it, and I'm like, cool, you know, and I don't really think about it much more. But then like this morning, I'm on Instagram, and Kurt Vile, he's one of my favorite singer-songwriters. He's just like kind of real laid back, like stretched out sort of Americana thing. And he posted a video of him playing a really old song of his, literally just playing the first verse and the chorus. And he like posted it on his like Instagram TV or whatever, like the longer form videos. And I was just like sitting there I was like getting welled up. I was like, I remember seeing this guy play live, and he's like, literally, it looks like he's sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
On my phone. And I was just like, this is so weird that like I'll watch these like high production value streams and I'm just like, cool. And I like don't think about it again. And then I'm just like moved by this like 80-second video of this guy
singing into
like
his
laughing
phone
and singing into his phone. And
so weird.
I don't know. Yeah, the live streaming thing is cool.
Hit or miss.
But it's definitely hit or miss.
Interesting.
But if you're like all in and you're like, there's a lot of people I think that are like really
doing well with
it, and I think that's really cool. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha. I think you do well with it though.
Yeah,
get on there and play a couple songs.
Yeah, whatever.
I see you do well though.
We'll figure it out.
I'm sure you will. I'm trying to get into it. Like, I mean, I kind of look at it as a way to play more shows these days. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, I've only done one, and it was just like guitar and stuff. Yeah. But it's definitely interesting. I like to ask people about it because I've gotten a lot of mixed reviews on it. People be like, "Oh, I hate it. It's nothing like the regular." Or, I love them. They're great. I'll watch as many as I can. That kind of thing.
I definitely think it helped for me when I started looking at them as like, I just have to stop thinking about this like it's a replacement. Yeah, and it's just like it's completely different thing.
Right?
Yeah, and once I kind of got in that mindset, I felt a lot better about it. Where it was like, this is just a nice thing to do and to watch. It's a good substitute. Yeah,
for the moment.
And, it's just nice to hear someone's voice, not in like the studio context.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For myself, I think and I don't know that any of this is gonna happen, but I've been kind of trying to think more about like music videos and like kind of that kind of world.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like the thing that Tommy and I always kind of wonder about is it's like, you put stuff out and it's like you just have no way of knowing like how it's landing on people. Yeah, it's like I don't know if this is making much of like an impact, because at least it's like if I play a show like 200 people, 150 people show up, and like those 20 people like know the words, and I'm like that song, that line, that whatever, like that worked.
That landed.
It made an impact.
Yeah.
And then it's like you see, it's just like I haven't put any music out, since shows aren't happening normally, and I'm just like, I just don't know how this is gonna go. I have no idea if this is gonna make any sort of impact.
I'm sure it will. You guys do a lot of live videos, don't you?
Yeah, it's a bit. There's been a lot of well-kept live videos.
Have you guys done any scripted like music video stuff? I haven't got to it yet. Something feels weird.
We put one out over the summer for Find Your Bliss that we recorded back like pre-pandemic. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And really gave me I was like, I want to do that again. But it was like, it is, you kind of have to get, like,
it's got to have a concept, right?
And we did it with people that we were really comfortable with, who weren't in the band. And that was kind of important of like, it would be hard to do that with like people that you didn't know super well.
Yeah, like hiring a video crew.
Whereas like a show, it's just like, or a live stream thing, it's like, I wouldn't mind like paying someone to like come do something for a live stream and it not be a big deal. But like a music video, it's more of like a statement.
Permanent as well. Yeah, it's like you don't just take it down a couple years. You know what I mean? Like that's the video, and people remember it.
Yeah,
that's super interesting. I don't know. I never really thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say we wrap this guy up?
All right, man.
That went extremely well. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, dog.
Thank you guys all for listening in. I'm very excited to see what you do, Elijah. Let's give him the thumbs up.
All right.
Good to go. This will be the thumbnail. I love saying this. Yes, man. Thank you for coming on. I'm very excited to see what you do. I hope to see you play a show one of these days. I look forward to listening to Greatest Hits on the Spotify and everything, Yes. Everybody go check that out on February 12th. It's Friday, I assume.
Yep.
Sweet. That was an awesome one. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, appreciate it. Follow Elijah on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
At Elijah, ELIJAHM, Johnston with a T.
Beautiful, beautiful. Follow Jameson on the rocks at Jameson_OTR. Subscribe to this podcast if you enjoyed it. Drop us a comment on YouTube, all that good stuff. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
See ya.